I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and that time of the year has finally arrived. This is the first broadcast of the 2026 World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, shortly known as the Carcassonne World Cup, a tournament where 389 players from 40 teams will decide who is the strongest Carcassonne nation in the world. In 4 minutes, we're starting our first match between Team Hong Kong and Team Finland. I am just gonna scroll real quick so that you can see what the teams are. There are 40 teams this year, so this is a record high. These are quite well-known teams, all of them. Look at this, Ecuador is part of the first time, so that is quite a big deal. And in fact, in an hour, we're going to show you a match between Ecuador and Ukraine. In 4 minutes, we're starting between Team Finland and Team Hong Kong. You can see the full roster of Team Finland over here with the captain Nalaheim, the fellow YouTuber Otto, of course, many familiar faces. Here you can see the full roster of Team Hong Kong. We're going to go through the lineups of Team Hong Kong as well. The captain is Hilik Lung for the second year straight. Then the other teams, which are interesting, of course, Team Japan, who are the reigning world champions, who are 5 times world champions, and who have already, by the way, won their first encounter against Uruguay. Just a few hours before that, not without some effort. They also brought a lot of new players. Then, of course, very notable Team Latvia, which is the team of myself. I'm not the captain this time, but I am participating. In fact, I am playing myself just 3 hours after the stream ends against Team Spain. Then what else? What else? These would be all the teams that have previously participated. Team Sweden is also new. I will definitely get to cover them at some point. So we are expanding the international community, and all the other teams that you see on the screen have already previously participated. So, Team Hong Kong versus Team Finland. The reason why I picked this match is because it has to be very close and interesting and high level. First of all, the high level stuff, right? You can see the lineups of Team Hong Kong and Team Finland here, and out of these 10 players involved, 7 have the title of Master. On table 3, CT, that's Carmen Tang of Hong Kong, will be a heavy rating favorite against Nevzrak, against Ville Inkelainen. On table 4, the former champion of both Hong Kong and Taiwan, and the vice champion of the United Kingdom, LSC, that is Daniel Cheng, also a master, and the former captain of Team Hong Kong, will be, again, a heavy favorite against the less experienced Tappajahaukki, and that is Jonathan Moberg. On table 5, the captain and one of the highest rated players in the world, Otto Ikonen of Finland, Nalaheim, will be a favorite against Little Small Small. Little Small Small is also a master, that is Edward Lowe, who is a multifaceted board game athlete and even started a foundation in Hong Kong to teach young players competitive board gaming. But still, of course, Nalaheim, that would be a separate tier. And so that's why the match, I think, is going to be decided on tables 1 and 2. Look at how evenly we're matched up on table 1. This is what we're going to start to watch. Eugene Tse versus Lauri Leppänen, Larpattori. And on table 2, this is the table that we're going to focus on, also with some attention. Tabby Brown, that's Agatha Wong, against Finland's Lapinkoski, that's Mikko Sormunen. So really, I think if Hong Kong managed to win on both of those tables, they're probably going to win this match. If Finland win on these tables, they're quite likely to win this match. So Eugene Tse, 1,500 games of experience on this platform. 600 rating at the moment. Larpa Torre has a quite high peak rating of 741, currently also rated around 600. A really high number of games in just a couple of years on the platform, very strong progression. So this should be very evenly matched up. And now it's time to just refresh the page until the games actually start, which they have. And I'm gonna do a preview of the second match, Ecuador against Ukraine, a little bit later. Let me just check the chat real quick, and then we're gonna start with the action. Alright, so Eugene says the starting player playing his traditional blue, representing the colors of the opposing team, and Larpa Torre representing the colors of the opposing team as well, playing red. So Eugene's getting an early advantage of 7 points by finishing this here little city and a little road, but Larpa Torre gets 8 points of his own by finishing a little city. So natural moves at the start. There's also a little field starting over here, 2 completed cities, a third one waiting to happen. And now we're going to see what Eugene plays here. So I can see 2 moves. Move number 1 is just to start a normal 2-point road. Move number 2 that probably Eugene is going to go for. Oh no, I was a bit surprised. I thought going here was an option, and starting a longer road potentially for 1 extra point. This is probably what Lauri's going to do here. Go over here, restrict this blue city a little bit, and try to go for that road. Or maybe even drop a farmer. Yeah. This is even better. Because look at this. If Eugene completes this city, this farmer is going to be worth like 9 points. And red decides to drop a farmer over here, like preemptively, to not allow blue to complete the city whilst dropping a farmer. Now red is starting a new city, and he also trying to create a blocking platform against this here guy. It is not going to succeed, but we're gonna see some interesting things. So how exactly is Eugene gonna defend? There are 2 ways of doing this. Number 1, we can go over here with a meeple on the city, or even on the field perhaps, hoping for one of the 3 remaining regular vanilla city caps that fit into the square. But this move, I think, is much better. Also with a farmer, and hoping for one of the 4 remaining tiles that fit into this square. I'm a bit surprised that the farmer has not been dropped, but okay. Actually, no, this makes some sense. This makes some sense. And the idea, of course, is that we can go here either with like a sausage tile, like this one, or with a cocktail sausage tile, like this one, to split these 2 cities. So this is reasonably safe. Red is starting a 4-point road, which makes a lot of sense. Now there is a bit of tension here in this square, so both red and blue would be interested in filling it at some point, kind of depending on what tile is drawn first. But Eugene gets the first monastery of the game, is going to have a slight advantage as the result. Probably going here, I think, would be a bit better. I'm not really a huge fan of this here move. It's nice to control this here red square, red city, but this here is a bit sensitive. But look at this. Eugene gets the perfect tile, the perfectest tile you can possibly imagine. He gets to go over here, cover up this here city, and a second meeple. Well, this is exceptionally greedy. This is exceptionally greedy, but it's certainly very understandable. Very understandable. So the idea is, the reason why he wants to invest a second meeple is that in case red gets the city splitter tile, so that red is not going to be able to go over here and try to claim this 8 point for himself. But the downside of that move is that blue's meeple are going to stuck here for quite a while until blue can manage to get What are the 4 remaining tiles that fit into this square? And also, of course, there's a 6% chance that blue is never going to get a tile for this square, in which case blue is probably lost, having 2 meeples invested just for 4 points. In the meantime, Larpa Torre starts a new city at the bottom and gets quite fortunate with the tile run out as Eugene tries to break it, but then the city gets immediately repaired. Yeah, so now really not that great of a position for Eugene regarding this here city. He will need to attack it at some point. Not right now. Probably the best move that I can see is going over here. Maybe with a meeple, probably without a meeple, trying to add an extra monastery point and then exert some pressure on this here square. There is no really point in prolonging this road because just adding 1 extra point is not good enough. Like, if you add a straight line, it does nothing to improve that road positionally. So essentially what we're waiting for with this meeple is some sort of a road end tile, like a rose tile perhaps, like one of those, you know, finishing a road, starting a new city. We've got to be quite patient. But this move I'm not such a huge fan. I mean, it's okay, but I think it's definitely better to go here because look what's going to happen now. Like, Larpato is just going to go over here and cut to the square, not allow the unification of this here 2-point road with Lauri's 6-point road. So definitely an imprecision on Eugene's part. It was just so much better to go over here. Also shortening the prospect of Red's field currently. So finally another shielded tile for Eugene, who just tries to play it peacefully. Low variance move, trying to connect to Red's city over here. So these 2 meeples going to cancel each other out. Larpa Torre with a temporary meeple advantage. Chooses to be a bit impatient. I really do not like this move by Larpa Torre. He prolongs his city, but he helps his opponent's monastery much more than he helps his own city. First of all, this city is kind of dangerous. Like, it can be tied to this here ugly piece of city and eventually blocked according to this square. So this is not really that good. But look at how beautiful Blue's monastery has become. Blue has now set up the completion of the monastery with another monastery, and there's still 5 monastery tiles remaining. Eugene, with the Rodin tile, is not going to get a meeple back. It's much, much better to go here and score the 4 points. I know that we're a bit short on meeples, but Eugene still has 1 meeple to score quick points. Yeah, and that's why he makes the patient move, goes for 4 points, and is now ahead on the scoreboard. Hi, self-evident. Hi, your son. You can see supporting Team Hong Kong. Do let me know if there's anybody who's supporting Finland who's here. Oh, and look at this. Larpa Torre gets a city cap and gets a second farmer. This is an excellent situation for Larpa Torre. Because Eugene is so short on meeples for now, he will not really be able to challenge the dominance of these here 2 red farmers. And let's say if Blue gets the splitter tile, which he needs eventually. Okay, Blue's going to get 12 points from this here city area, which is nice and 2 meeples back. But there are going to be 5 completed cities on this field, and Red's going to have ironclad control of these completed cities for 15 points. So Red's going to be doing quite well here. On the other hand, I can definitely imagine Eugene winning this game without fighting for any fields at all. In order for that to happen, Eugene would need to just get a monastery tile quick enough. Instead, just Eugene gets 4 points for a city, which is, you know, good enough if you ask me. Larpa Torre gets a splitter tile, so now there are only 2 tiles remaining that fit into this square. Hong Kong supporters should start getting a little bit anxious. Larpa Torre also has the meeple to take advantage of this situation. Now, the move that I expect him to play is to go over here and start an 8-point city. This is also quite interesting. I'm not sure if this is better. Eugene now, you know what, has some amazing options available. Okay, I really hope that Eugene goes for content moves. So option 1 is just go here, take 4 points, direct the other city cap in this area so that it cannot be taken. Option 2 is go over here take 8 points and a meeple back by splitting your little city from the bigger city of Larpatore, then of course there is the risk that Larpatore is going to complete his city. No, 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 no. You didn't even let me finish, Eugene. Oh, come on. Like, didn't let me even finish. And then ended up making a move which is even not that good. Come on. The best move, I think, from Eugene was not going to go to split here, even though that was a legit option, right? Getting 8 points and everything, and then trying to maybe like block this red city later. But the better move was the content move, was to go over here, try to place a blue meeple, try to find one of the 3 cow tiles that fit into the square, one of the 3 triple city tiles that would let him overrun the city with 2 blue meeples versus 1 red city, and then just find 1 simple city cap over here to cover up and just like win the game on the spot. Disappointing, to say the least. Hi Played Mac saying gonna root for Finland, big Nalaheim fan. Hi Sunny. Yeah, I'm so disappointed. Like, it's not that this move is bad, it's just like it misses such a great opportunity. And you know what? Specifically because Larpatore drew this tile and drew this tile. Because there are only 2 tiles that are left. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is so bad. This is so bad. Oh, this is so bad. Okay. So, players exchange quick points and stuff, but let me go through what happened. So, you see, like, with the perfect tile, with the one and single perfect tile in the deck, Eugene did not want to attack this big city. But then with this here very imperfect tile, for some reason he decided that attacking the city is a good idea. And then as a result, okay, he gets to invade this here city and share the points, but he has his 3-point meeple blocked, and now pretty much Eugene is like relying on getting this here tile as soon as possible, but there's only 2 of those remaining, and there are 32 tiles in the deck, so statistically it's going to be a lot of waiting time. Yeah, I don't get this. Okay, well, finally Eugene gets his tile, so that's something. He's going to get 10 points for that city and 2 meeples back. He's going to be 9 points ahead. But also, I just want to point out something, right? So, with the tile run out in the game, had Eugene gone for this content move, his next draw was this tile, with which he would have covered up his area, and his next draw was this tile, which he would have used to place over here, and Eugene would have already had a 22 points completed city in this here area, and 2 extra meeples back, and probably the game decisive advantage. It's still a good position for Eugene, but red, with this here field, can still do quite a lot in this game. Red's also trying to score points here. Eugene probably going to do something in this here area. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Trying to pressure this here city of red. But this city of red is still completable, and this city of blue is somewhat dangerous. So with the run out of tiles in the game, again, like blue has a decent position as opposed to being able to just make a lights out blow. Alright, so Larpatore expands his field. His intention, of course, is to drop more city caps and make sure that this meeple scores maybe 12 points instead of 9 points. Currently, just a reminder, so this here red guy is scoring 9, and this here red guy is scoring 12 for a total of 21 field points. Eugene will score quite a lot by getting one of the monastery tiles. There's still 4 of those remaining. It seems almost inevitable. He now gets another meeple back on the left, exercising some good patience. Yeah, this meeple was waiting for quite a long time, but this is how it has to be. And Larpatore with a perfect tile, getting a meeple back and maybe even meepling another field. Okay, we can work with that. But Eugene getting the perfect draw, getting the 9 points for one monastery, 9 points for the other monastery, and I think that Lauri will not be able to compensate this many points with just farmers. The first thing that I would like Lowry to do here is probably try and play against Eugene City. Yeah, and maybe do exactly this. And it's a very strong move. Now, there's one more tile that fits into this square, and if Red gets this tile, he's gonna score not only 6 points for the city, but he's also gonna claim the 6-point road that goes through that city. But who is to say that he's gonna draw that tile? All Larpatore just has to do is to win the coin flip and to not let Eugene draw that tile. So let's now do some point counting. Eugene is ahead 26 points on the scoreboard, which is a big ouch. Larpatore has, what, 24 points on the field overall. Just gotta trust me on this one. And Eugene has 2 meeples extra. Eugene has a couple of trapped meeples for 5 points. Larpatore is gonna get a meeple back from here. So Eugene's definitely going to have a slight advantage. And maybe 80% chance to win this game. I know it's not a slight advantage, but I meant like a slight advantage in terms of points. I think 80% in terms of game-winning chances. But Larpatore has a legit path to victory. I think all he has to do is get a meeple back soon enough and then just draw a couple of city caps trying to expand the field of which he has ironclad control. And maybe hope that Eugene makes some mistakes. So what is Eugene gonna do? It's not crazy for Eugene to try and immediately invest one of his new meeples. For example, going over here for 5 points is not necessarily a crazy move. And then we can maybe try to get a couple of other tiles to expand our incompletable cities up to 9 or even 10 points in this area. There are certain ways how we can get maybe a road triangle and then some sort of a triple city perhaps to fit into the square to try and take advantage of this piece as well. There are options. It's also possible from Eugene's perspective to just go here and try to limit the growth potential of this red field. Still some things that the Hong Kong player can do. Alright, so players are going to take their time to think. I'm going to use this moment to remind y'all to meeple the like button for the algorithm. That would make me feel really good, and that would bring more viewers to discover the joys of competitive Carcassonne as a spectator sport. That would be much appreciated. What else? Trying to come up with some suggestions for Eugene here. Probably the suggestion just to play a bit quicker. He's already under 5 minutes in his remaining time. 20 tiles remaining, so he's still gonna have to make 11 moves. It's a lot. Like 30 seconds per move is really not that much. If Larpatore scores some quick points, and there's still ways to do that, you know, there's still multiple crossroads remaining, for example, how you can score road points and stuff. Yeah, so Eugene really needs to get a move on. This move is pretty good. It's really interesting. He's going to go for a 4-point city, but one which is still going to have a chance to get completed. And I'm sure a blue meeple is going to follow soon enough. And it is possible that Lowry is going to have to devote some resources to blocking it. Lowry is now trying to build up his field, but it's not really the best field to be building up. You see, this field here is controlled by only one meeple. So this means if red, let's say, takes 4 points in this here area, then blue can just go over here and invade that field and equalize all those farming points. What I think Lowry should be doing is going with this tile over here and developing his other field, which he's controlling with not 1 but 2 meeples. And because this field is controlling by 2 meeples, there's no conceivable way how blue can attack it. Now, for example, blue can easily... Oh, I was going to say blue's going to go over here, But it turns out that blue is actually not going to bother. Blue's going to start a 5-point monastery, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. That actually makes some sense, because this monastery is controlling the road of red. But now red just claims more points, and blue really does not have that many meeples anymore. Blue cannot fight for this here field all that well. Blue can score some quick points, maybe getting 3 points over here. That would be a nice idea. Yeah, that makes some sense. I'm not sure if blue needs to leave this variance. Blue is leaving 3 points up for grabs for his opponent, but I can also see why he would do that. Larpatori gets a meeple back, and now it is Lauri who has the meeple advantage. Eugene catches up on the scoreboard by getting 7 quick points in 2 moves, finishing a city 21 points ahead on the scoreboard, but 3 points for Larpatori. Quick points for Eugene. Probably gonna go over here and score 2. Don't really see any other reasonable ideas for the Hong Konger. And this is exactly what happens. Plus 20 on the scoreboard. Plus gazillion for Larpatori on the field. But what is Larpatori gonna do? So he could be tempted to go over here and expand his leftmost 12-point field to include this here little bit. But if he does that, he creates a platform for Eugene to go over here and attack the field from both sides with an almost guaranteed connection. And these 12 points and eventually 15 points in this area is something that Lauri has no desire to share, but Lauri goes for it anyway. Eugene now does not go for the field attack, instead wants to pick off a couple of road points. His road on the right has reached 7 points, exceeding the 6 points of red. Red has a gazillion field points. What is Eugene gonna do about this? It almost seems that the game is gonna come down to this here situation. If Eugene gets this here tile for this square, he's gonna score 6 points for this road, and this is exactly what we're gonna see. He will give a couple of extra cities, this one and this one, on Larpatori's field. This field is now one big field. Everything has unified, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cities for 33 points. But overall, Eugene is ahead. Eugene has the better monastery by 1 point, the better road by 1 point, and he has a couple of blocked cities for a total of 7 points. So if my calculations are correct, Eugene is ahead 8 points, and he also has an extra meeple. And he also gets the Romo, the road monastery tile, for 7 additional points. He should be ahead 14 right now. And there's just nothing that Lauri can do. Yeah, also, some of y'all might have been thinking that Lauri could have gone over here and tried to place a meeple and maybe attack and steal this here ruin for a total of 12 points or something like that, 13 points. But this would not have been possible because we're simply running out of tiles that fit into this square. So, the best that Lauri can do is just accept defeat and move on to the next game. And again, some of y'all might be calculating some ideas of like going in this here area and maybe connecting to the city through a tube-shaped tile, but we've run out of tube-shaped tiles. All 3 of them are on the board. And we've also run out of triple city tiles as well. All 4 of them are on the board. So there's just no way possible to steal these city points. Lauri just takes 1 point. Eugene is going to take quick points with the crossroad tile. All he has to do is just not lose on time. And Lauri takes 4 points with his final move, 3 points for the city, 1 point for the monastery. And Eugene is going to take also a 4-point move. That was a smart find. 1 for the monastery and 3 points for the farmer. One might not see it, and I did not see it at first, but this here blue farmer is actually touching this here little city. So a double-digit advantage for Eugene, if I calculated correctly, despite the fact that Lauri got 33 points for the field. Again, what we see is a classic imbalance with monasteries and cities with completable features outscoring the immensely monstrous field. 14 points, or 17 points rather, is the advantage of Eugene. Very confident win. Alright, so it is a best of 3. So Lauri now has to win the next game if he wants to equalize. Let me just take a very quick sneak peek at the other games. What is going on there? Hong Kong is ahead on other tables. Tabby's ahead against Lopinkoski. LSC's again is ahead on table 4. Nauheim is ahead on table 5. And on table 3 we have an upset brewing, which is also quite interesting. So how about we just look at table 3? Let's change it up. Let's mix it up a little bit. Okay, so let's have a look at Ville Inkelainen, who won against Carmen Tang by a tie. Oh, look at this. So the score was 84-84, but Carmen was the starting player and therefore was awarded a loss. And this game just started 2 minutes ago, so I'm going to be in time for the opening. Okay, this should be interesting. So, Carmen with the red meeples, Ville with the green meeples was trying to join this here road, but is not going to be successful. Ville is now trying to eat up this rather sizable city. Look, there is one green meeple over here, one red, one green over here, just one triangle tile remaining until the square gets filled for some 18 points for green. Carmen's gonna enjoy being the starting player and also having the first monastery for 4 points. This city is likely also going to be completed. And already a difficult decision here for Carmen. So a normal move is to go over here and try to limit the number of tiles that fit into this critical square. You also gotta choose specifically the orientation with the curve going downwards, and this is exactly what he does, because 1, 2, 3 out of 5 road triangle tiles have already gone out. So there are only 2 tiles in the deck that finish the city immediately. The reason why Carmen has reservations about this move is because Ville now can go over here and start destroying this here square and consequently perhaps trapping this red meeple at 1 point. But this is a threat that Carmen's just going to have to accept simply because this city is nowhere near as important as this here city. Yeah, it's a bit of unusual sequencing from Ville. Trying to, first of all, create an additional platform instead of going for the immediate restriction. I think the immediate restriction was better. And now a very interesting decision for Nethstrak. So, very standard move from CT. He's trying to get a city tile, a city plus field tile that would permanently block this here square. And green gets a tile that fit into this square. But if he does go here, then we already see that red is trying to connect to the city and equalize it. There's a move, however, which Villa needs to find in this position, and he finds it. I did not expect a player with a rating of 300 finding this move. I apologize for underestimating Villa's spatial vision. And now, Villa is a legit favorite to win this game. There are two tiles that fit into the square, the two road triangles, translating to a 75% chance of the square being completed. Of the city being completed, sorry. So Carmen is trying to build up some compensation. He's trying to build up a city of his own. Villa is probably gonna go here on the left. This is the strongest move that I see. Try to create two platforms to create inconveniences for this here red city. If red manages to complete this here city, then it's going to be a complete and full compensation for this here city, and so the game is going to be equal. So if I'm playing green, I'm not allowing Carmen to get away with this here city on the left that easily. Instead, a bit of a wasteful move, if you ask me. It has some merits, but in the short term, it gives you negative points because it's connected a 3-point road with a 2-point road of red. Looks like a bit of a waste of time. Carmen now has some interesting choices. He could go over here and start a new city. Instead, he goes on the left, which also makes a lot of sense. Nevzrak now could go over here, but I think it's a bit premature. I think it was a bit better to go over here and try to prevent him from try to prevent Carmen from finishing this here city. But again, going back to this move over here, green should have gone over here, tried to create these platforms to attack the city, because now the city of red is very nicely covered up. And if red draws just one simple city cap, which is a likely occurrence, red is going to be ahead. Villa is starting a new city. Carmen is going to finish this here city and maybe even drop a farmer. Also, Villa is... it looks like he's restricting the city... It looks like he is restricting the city of red, but he is doing so for 3 tiles, which translate to an 88% chance of red eventually completing the city. So I do not think that... this was a particularly dangerous move. So red, in fact, is happy to see it. Red is also taking quick points, now creating inconveniences for the many roads of Nevzrak, but it's a great tile for Villa, finishing an 18-point city. And not meepling the road for now, not meepling the field. I think he should have meepled something, but he will be happy with just a scoreboard lead for now. Capitalizing on the lovely defense move that he played about 10 tiles ago. Carmen 4 points down, but still a good position because he's going to be the starting player. He still has this monastery. He can actually increase the power of this monastery right now, setting up 2 more monasteries over here. This is the move that I would opt for. He could also be tempted to drop a farmer, which I think is a little bit premature because there are no big fields right now. I mean, the biggest one is over here for 6 points. It could be 9 points eventually. This move is also quite interesting. Yeah, he just restricts the city of green. Nevzrak takes a 5-point monastery in a bit of an unexpected location. I would have preferred a move here, setting up a 9-point monastery in this here area, or a move here, simply equalizing the monastery of red. Red finishes the city, and will he attack the road? No, he does not attack the road. He takes the field instead. I would have loved the meeple on this road, and look at this. A 7-point monastery for Villa. Carmen could be tempted to go over here, actually, take the point, and then set up a gigantic road which goes through his own city, and he does exactly this. The price is that he's helping Green's monastery quite a lot with that. Green gets a splitter tile. Green is running short on meeple, so Green can't really do much in terms of starting new cities. Maybe just going over here with the city cap pointing down, trying to finish the city. This move I do not like one bit. I do not like it at all. You really do not want to create these city plus road bits next to your monasteries in a position where so many city plus road tiles have gone out. And yeah, this is a very, very good move from Carmen. Now, quite strongly restricting what goes into this square, what goes into this square, and Ville is going to be struggling for meeple. This is another strong move from Carmen as well. There are now only 2 tiles that fit into this square. Ville now finishes his 4-point city, takes a gigantic 7-point road, and also prepares a 12-point field, which only he can claim because he has meeple. Did I say Ville? I meant Carmen. Desperately, Green is trying to recover the monastery meeple. It's a good tile for Green because Red cannot use this tile to claim fields. Red, however, can go over here and try to equalize this here city, or just leave it alone. Going here without a meeple is also perfectly legit, but because he knows that he's ahead so much, and because he knows how many meeples he has, it's perfectly normal for him to go over here. And look, this move has paid off. Had this tile not been over here, Carmen... Oh wait, it's Carmen. Never mind, never mind, never mind. So Villa finishes this here 9-point monastery. Carmen is... what he's going to do. Yeah, go for the farm, of course, of course. It's a very... it's just such a lucrative farm. Oh, look at that. Look at how lucrative that farm is. It's 12 points with pretty much no possibilities to attack it. 12 points for the price of 1 meeple is generally quite good in Carcassonne, but even better on a closed board like this. In fact, this 12-point field is likely to remain the most valuable feature in the game. Willem has too few meeples to meeple a monastery, so he figures he'll just gonna do some restriction moves, which makes some sense. Carmen finally is gonna go over here, perhaps maybe trying to overtake this road, whilst also making sure that his little farmer penetrates this 9-point field with 3 completed cities on it. He could also just claim a new road for 5 points. Yeah, he does this. He wants these road points. Nevzrak now gets a great tile, but needs to make a decision. He should really go here and risk his last meeple, yes, but it's a very low risk for a high chance of getting a city cap and 8 points to his scoreboard. He's low on meeples, he really, really needs to score, but instead he does something which is just not very good. He makes this here square even more vulnerable than it has to be. Building up his city, Carmen connects to the road, expands his field. Nevzrak is going to take these 4 points over here. Instead, he does this and tries to... He tries to finish his city, but of course, he did not know that he's creating the platform for the blockage of said city. And look at this, he needs a city plus road tile over here, a city plus road tile over here, and there are only 2 of those remaining in the game. So he's looking to get very, very specific tiles, and Carmen just keeps scoring like a beast, finishing a long road, and eventually he's going to attack really, really hard. Nevzrak gets a little bit of something. 5 points is the option that I see for him. I mean, why would you not go for it? You really have to score. Or, you know, yeah, getting a meeple back, that's also fine. I would have preferred the 5 points, I guess. But he figures that maybe he has a bit of a chance if he can fight for some fields. I don't think so. I think that CT is going to just outscore his opponent. And also, geometrically, these fields are so hard to attack. So this 12-point field is impossible to attack. And this 12-point field is possible to attack, but the attacking platforms from here and here are rather marginal. Carmen's going to pick up this empty city cap. Nevzrak getting 5 points, so that's a bit of something from the scoreboard, but it's just not going to be enough. Let me check the chat in the meantime. Hi, Polo Verde. Yes, Hong Kong is indeed winning so far. Hi, Elias. Yeah, Carmen picking up the empty city cap, preparing a 6-point move. 2 quick points for Ville. -11 on the scoreboard in a game where I felt like the tiles actually went overall quite well for the Finnish player. But it's really, you know, these strategically placed farmers, better build-up, better meeple management that helped the Hong Konger gain the advantage. The decisive mistake, again, I'm going to criticize this move quite a lot. This one decision, building the monastery inorganically, this is what caused this is what caused this, and this made sure that 3 meeples of green never saw the lights of day. Of course, green has the meeples now, but it feels too little too late. What should green do? I do not know the answer to that question. Maybe just start a new city or something. Or maybe it's time to get a bit more desperate. Okay, so let me try something. The move that I'm thinking, at some point we need a city tile to go here and drop a farmer. Then we need a monastery, either the field monastery or a Romo, to go here and get our hypothetical farmer into this 12-point field. And then maybe we need something weird like some marginal invasion for this area to get a second farmer. And this is the ultimate minimum that I have to get. Hi, Daniel. Yeah, this is definitely not the move to play. Using an entire meeple to attack a 4-point city is really not at all that great. Then just to not to have any problems, Carmen blocks this here square, because, you know, there was a scenario where like this tile could have been drawn by Ville and he could have gone over here, and then he could have gone over here with something else. So Carmen's going to sacrifice a couple of points, not use this city cap for the city where he needs it, but just to make sure that green does not have any options. Green places a 7-point monastery, so it's a good tile for green. Ideally, green would have wanted to get a city tile and drop a farmer beforehand. Now going to get a couple of quick points over here. Also, by the way, these and these squares are no longer fillable because this was the last tile that fit there. So what we're gonna do is just watch this game against this conclusion. Oh yeah, thank you for pointing out, Matt, that Romos are out. So this was the last monastery. Anyway, it's kind of, the plan is still the same that I was talking about. Your son is saying CT's red farmer is such an art. Oh yeah, because you know what's the beauty about this, right? So first of all, this 12-point farmer is impenetrable, and this 12-point farmer is actually also very difficult to penetrate. But look at this, look at this, look at this. So in this area, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completed cities. But for 3 of those cities, CT is scoring twice because of the geometry, right? Because he is touching the city with 2 different farmers from 2 different sides. So that's a way for him, with just 2 meeples, to score 24 points for only 1 city. It's nearly 5 points, in fact, it's 4.8 points per city, instead of the usual 3 points per city in Carcassonne. So this is peak efficiency, and he's ahead on the scoreboard. And he started a 3rd farmer as well, and all that we're left to do is just to see what the point difference is going to be. Whew. Some quick points for Ville. Some quicker points for Carmen. Getting not only 4 points for the city, but 3 points for the field as well. 3 points for the road is probably what we're going to see from Ville. Unless maybe it's actually better to go here instead and try to invade this 9-point field. It doesn't really matter all that much. Yep, and he goes for the invasion. Carmen is probably going to get the 4-point road, which is what he does. And Ville is not going to get the field. He's only going to get 1 monastery point. And Carmen is going to get 3 city points. And now it's time to count up. It should be, I think, 20-something points, nearly 30 perhaps the difference. Again, just wanted to point out all of those unfillable holes in the board where Green lost a lot of his meeples, which was the reason for the loss in the game. All really because of one innocent mistake in this area. Yeah, 31 points. Very confident performance from CT. And these two are headed to the decider. Okay, let me just real quick see at how the others are doing. So Hong Kong has already won on table 4, where LSC has predictably won. Congratulations to LSC. And we don't really have outcomes in the other duels. Maybe let's go back to Larpatori and Eugene Sen, see how these guys are doing. They're just finishing up their second game with 3 tiles remaining. So Eugene again is ahead 10 points, and he's playing blue meeples, and I see a lot of blue meeples on the board, so it could be so that we're witnessing the final moments in this duel. Well, let's have a look. So what blue has? Blue has this monastery, which is compensated by this red monastery. Blue has this 8-point monastery. Blue has this 10-point city, which is greater than this here red city. But red has a long road here for 8 points. Red has a city here, which is potentially still completable because, as I see, there's still 1 city tile available for this square. So that's nice. And blue has small features blocked over here, and red has more farmers. So red has a 9-point field over here. 9-point field over here, which could turn into a 12-point field of this here city getting completed. Blue has only a 6-point field in this here area. And red has a lot of time on their clock to calculate a standard endgame with 4 unseen tiles. There are 24 combinations how the unseen tiles could play out. And it is possible to go through all of those combinations in your head in about 5 minutes. Yeah, this move makes a lot of sense. He just tries to get a lot of points. He gets 1 point for his incompletable city, and he's starting another completable city, and he's banking on either getting a city cap and thus getting a city back, or he was banking on getting this here tile, which he's not gonna get. So this city is now no longer completable, which is of course unfortunate for our Finnish fans. What can Eugene do? The natural move is just to go here and take 1 point, and this is probably what he's gonna settle for, but depending on the remaining tiles, he could try something interesting. For example, he could go here and drop a farmer, trying to invade the 9-point field of Larpatori. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is no longer possible because no curvy tiles are remaining. He could also go over here and drop a 0-point farmer, trying to go over here and penetrate the 9-point field of this red guy. Well, let me just check something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are no straight lines either to allow this to happen. So this is also not going to work. Yeah, so I guess Eugene's best plan is to simply take 1 point for the city and then spend his last tile on doing whatever. He could, in theory, if he's feeling a bit crazy, he could go here and drop a farmer and hope for a city cap to connect to this field like that. And there's still one vanilla city cap available at the very least, if not two. No, just one. But then I don't see why exactly it would be a good idea to do that. I didn't quite calculate it fully, but I think around 10 points is Eugene's advantage or something like that, or maybe just under 10 points. I think Eugene is winning this unless he does something unreasonable. Matt is saying that the south field attack should work with a junction. It shouldn't, because 1, 2, 3, 4 crossroads, so all crossroads have gone out. There is the rose type crossroad with a city cap, but that wouldn't quite work for field invasion. Yep, and all monasteries have gone out as well, so there's no real opportunity for big points. I think we just might be witnessing the possibly Hong Kong match victory with this here move. 2.5 minutes for Eugene to figure this out. Oh, wait. I forgot about this road, duh. Okay, the game is actually very, very close. I literally just forgot about this road. Let me think about this. So I can understand why Eugene might not be happy with this 1 point. Okay, so like 11 points, right? These two cancel each other out. Okay. These two almost cancel each other out. So Eugene is plus 10. So this road is 9. Eugene is plus 1. This city is 5. Eugene's minus 4. This is 1. Eugene's minus 5. These here 2 cancel out. This is 0. Larpatori has 3 points on this farm. So this is 3. This is 7. So 10 points. And this here city is 10. Wait, are we dead equal right now? I think we're dead equal right now. What am I talking about? Okay, so this is actually very, very not obvious. But let's say if Eugene goes here, he gets 1 extra point. If Larpatori gets a city cap, he's going to get 3 extra points and a meeple back. And Larpatori is going to be up 2 points. And both are going to have 1 meeple going into the last move. Okay, so he chose to do this stuff, right? To take the points. And, okay, whatever. I can understand this. He's going to take the city cap now. A different type of city cap. And I think Larpatori wins. I think Larpatori wins. Wait, and also, this was such a brilliant move by Larpatori because all the remaining tiles were city caps. He was guaranteed to get a meeple back. So I think what Eugene should have done, he should have gone over here and maybe try to invade the field through this here dagger tile, as low as a chance it is. Because from what I'm seeing, I think Lowry wins this like by a couple of points or something. By 1 point or 2 points. Yeah, there's the city. Yeah, and Eugene saying let's take a 3 minutes break. So Larpatori is actually winning this. What's an endgame from the Finn? Yeah, look at this, the 2 point difference. And so actually this here move from Eugene was a move which was guaranteed to lose him the game. Because from Eugene's perspective, he knew that all of the remaining tiles were enough to give Lowry a meeple back and some scoring power towards the end, which is just enough to put him over the edge. So the best option for Eugene was to go here and hope for a very specific tile combination. He would need to hope that Lowry gets this here city cap, and I'll explain why in a second, of which there is 1 in 3 chance, times Eugene getting specifically this here tile to connect to the field, and that would be a 1 in 6 chance to win the game. 1 in 6 chance is still not a lot, but it's much, much, much better than 0 in 0. The reason why, if you go for this here move as blue and you want to try and penetrate this field, the reason why you need to hope for your opponent to draw the city cap immediately, because Lowry had another idea. He could take this here tile and not finish his city, but instead use it over here to block the entry of this blue farmer, and then use the final city cap to get himself a couple of extra points for the city and win the game by 1 point. And 1 point exactly. And with 4 minutes on the clock, I have no doubt that Lowry would have actually found the sequence. So yeah, we know that Eugene would not have won the game with the tile round in question, but he could have at least tried. Also going over here was a legit option as well with a farmer like this. Then he would need to hope for a different outcome. He would need to hope that Lowry gets this here tile, which you get in the game, because then Lowry would not have been able to go over here and block this here field connection. And then Eugene would need to hope that he himself would get this here vanilla city cap, place it over here, and invade the field like this. But what we do know for sure that Eugene's only chance was to try and invade one of the fields from one of these 2 platforms for a 1 in 6 chance of a win, and this is something that, being short on time, he just did not find. Alright, so I guess let's just watch the decider between these two guys. Lauri will be the starting player. Eugene has already scored 2 points for this road. Is going to score more points for this little castle. I don't really see anything better for him. Going over here is an option, but at this stage of the game, it is overly aggressive and just not likely to work. And what else could he do? He could go here and spend the city cap on blocking, but that is too much if you ask me. So let's just see what Eugene does. Yeah, normal, natural move as expected. Hi Brokisak, hi Nalaheim, thanks for explaining the intricacies of said endgame. Alright, Larpatori gets a wonderful tile, finishing a 4-point road, starting a new city. And also consolidating his road over here. Yeah, definitely an advantage now for the Finn. Eugene now has a chance to create an inconvenience for this here city, which is exactly what he does. Lauri has an interesting choice here. Like, he could start a new city in this area. This would be my favorite move. Just go here, start a new city, create an inconvenience for this here blue guy, and also indirectly protect this here square, which is somewhat sensitive. And Lauri finds this move, of which I am impressed. It's a triple purpose move. And there were other alternatives, such as starting a new city over here, or going over here or over here and starting to build up this here guy. But Lauri knows that efficient building of this here city includes triangle tiles, and there's still 9 triangle tiles remaining in the deck. Interesting decision for Lauri again. He could go over here and finish this red city and get a meeple back, but this would also help Eugene's road quite a lot. Eugene could get something like a regular road tile and then drop this farmer or something. So I'm not sure if Lauri is going to pull the trigger on such a move. He could also go here, finish the city and drop a farmer. Then maybe it's not such a great idea to leave this empty city cap. There are also some scenarios how this road meeple kind of goes and frees itself, and then this square gets blocked, and then red meeple loses over here. And then also red has a farmer which does not have a good development, because it is possible that all the farming action is going to go over here. So similar move, except that Lauri just does not meeple any fields. And this also makes some sense. Yep, Lauri spares his farmers for this here side of the board. This here straight line, of course, also makes a lot of sense for Eugene, because he's trying to prevent red from getting a splitter tile and finishing an 8-point city. Lauri is now going to try and protect his city, which is being attacked. He's going to go over here. No. Really? It surprises me. I do not think it is worth one bit. Nah, he's being a bit too nonchalant about getting blocked at this stage of the game. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of dangerous, right? One simple curve would limit the number of tiles that fit into the square to just one. And Lauri just keeps building normally. I think being a bit too nonchalant. Yeah, and Eugene, that's it. Eugene can now permanently block this guy. And he should, and he absolutely should. Even though red is ahead 12 points, this move from Eugene gives him, I was going to say, genuine chance. But I'm a bit surprised about this meeple placement. It seems to be a little bit too petty. I would have certainly preferred to be the first on the farm. And Larpatori finds a lovely move. Will you look at that? Trying to set up the completion of his city from the other side with the road Dorito. Eugene now blocks this city, but it is not a big deal. because he also blocks himself. Lauri's blocked at 1 point. Eugene's blocked at 3 points. So only a 2-point advantage in this here area. Now, and this is the reason what I was going to say why this here meeple is kind of petty. Blue could very easily lose a meeple himself, because if only a road tile is being placed over here, then this would immediately make this meeple lost. And so now, the reason for that is because, like, look at these 3 tiles, the 3 dagger tiles. If we place a straight line over here, there will be 0 tiles that fit into this area. And that's why Eugene is forced to spend a move on defense instead of something that he actually would have enjoyed, going over here and trying to prevent this here monitor, this here city from being completed. Eugene now also needs to worry about this here square a little bit, needs to worry about a bunch of things. Probably going to go here and start a new city. Catch up on the scoreboard a little bit, but Lauri's scoring machine over here is so well set up. In the meantime, he sacrifices 1 point, does not go for a 3-point road, goes for a 2-point road, and now tries to create an inconvenience for this here square. Eugene now has a choice between taking these 3 points and potentially protecting the square, or going over here and taking a 5-point monastery and also creating an inconvenience against this here guy. Maybe if we go over here and try to get this monastery, that would make some sense. He goes for the quick points. He does not want to invest the meeples too early, and Larpatore gets a monastery. And now we're going to see how risky is he feeling. Of course, the most efficient move to score is to go here and is to meeple that monastery. But if red does not draw a city cap soon enough to finish his city, then bam, bam, 2 road tiles could completely paralyze 3 meeples of blue. Of red, sorry. Speaking of meeples of blue, Larpatore is creating all kinds of blocking threats in all kinds of areas. So probably, I think Eugene is protecting perhaps the wrong meeple. Larpatore is going to get a fantastic tile. He's going to finish his city for 6 points. He's not going to meeple any farms just yet. And he's going to also create a possibility to finish this here monastery. Eugene gets a meeple back, but he's so close to losing this here meeple, but not quite. Larpatore gets 4 quick points. This here meeple is still in limbo. Eugene now needs to find his best move, which is of course to go over here, and of course to drop his farmer, and of course to protect this here meeple indirectly. With 10 minutes on the clock, surely he will find this. He's 9 points behind on the scoreboard. He really needs to have some sort of advantage, and he's going to be the first on the farm. At least this is something. Larpatore now makes a move which is okay. Eugene now is going to drop a second farmer, because I thought I know him well enough, but apparently I don't. Larpatore is going to be happy to pick off the city points from this here area. Eugene, with a shielded tile and not many great options, goes for the second farmer over here, which actually makes a lot of sense. Larpatore, 9 points ahead. I think what Lauri is going to try to do, he's going to try what Eugene did to him in the first game. He's going to try and allow his opponent take control of all the fields and just try to outscore him in other areas. Yep, getting just 1 single point, it's good enough. Eugene, probably going to take 2 points in this here area, or in this here area, or in this here area, somewhere. I do not necessarily see a deeply rooted advantage in one area over the other. Well, there are some differences. I just do not really want to go over them. They're not all that interesting. He chooses to go in the south. Larpatore just keeps adding points to his blocked city. Eugene now needs to decide whether to go the scoring approach and try to get a 4-point road here at the bottom, or to go the blocking approach, which is what I prefer, going over here and trying to find some sort of a city tile which would block the recovery of this monastery meeple. Such blockage would also help his farmers, because currently he's scoring 18 points for only 5 cities, because this city is being scored twice as it is being touched by 2 farmers from the front and from the rear. And finally, Eugene gets a meeple back as Larpatori keeps scoring and scoring and scoring, building up his ruin already to 8 points. Eugene taking more quick points and for the first time taking the lead. Only 13 tiles remaining. And a rather even game. Also wanted to point out that there's still one more tile that fits into this area that would allow Eugene quite a lot of points. If he gets to connect his 1-point meeple to gazillion point meeple of Larpatori, Eugene has a chance to score 2 points by going over here and connecting at the top. This is probably what he's gonna do. Or no. Of course, it's better to go here and block this monastery. Even though, yes. Even though at this stage of the game, meeple counts are not such a big deal. Like, both sides have 2 meeples, which is more than enough for 11 tiles remaining. Red, if red gets 1 more meeple back, could cause some additional damage. Not something that blue wants to happen. Red probably could just build up his city. 2 points and 2 points and 2 points and 2 points. We can just keep building. There are 2 6-point fields in the game. There's this one and there's this one. So there's no urgency in meepling those fields, because as soon as Eugene's going to go on this here field, Larpator is going to go on the other field. But look at this. You know what Eugene can do? Of course, he can go here for 6 points. He can go here for 2 quick points. He can meeple a monastery, but he can also go over here and meeple nothing. And with this move, he could expand the possessions of this here farmer to include these here 2 cities. And I think this is an opportunity he should absolutely latch onto. The only question is, do we meeple the monastery? And the answer is probably yes. Larpatori gets a monastery of his own, and I just cannot see nothing better than maybe going here for 6 points. This was a 10-point move from Eugene. And also, it is quite possible for Eugene to take a curve and go here and take this additional city into his field. As long as this here square is not filled, he will still not unite these 2 farmers and keep them separate, and he has a chance to score twice for both of these cities. Lauri seems to be in considerable trouble here. He does have these lovely ruins, but are they really a match for these lovelier fields? Currently, Eugene is scoring for 5 cities here and for 3 cities here. That's 24 points for farms. He has 14 for monasteries and 10 for the city, which is also 24. Eugene tries to block a little bit. Lauri probably gonna get a point or something. Maybe here even. Or you know what Lauri could do at some point, which may or may not be right now? He could go here and try to invade with a ninja farmer through the outside of a curve. That way he would share the 15 points in this area, which surely would result in a win for him. There is also this here field for 6 points, which hitherto remained unclaimed. Lowry could even go right now and spend his last farmer over here, which I think would be a bit premature, or he could just go here, take 1 point, and leave a city cap up in the open for either side to gamble, and this is exactly what he does, but Eugene gets first dibs on the city cap. And he gets 4 quick points. Lowry is probably going to get 2 quick points off his own unless he decides that it's time to try and attack the field. There are several ways how Lowry can do this, and I think the best move that I like for Lowry has to do something with this here square. First of all, it's 2 points for this road. Second, this would create 2 opportunities and draw the last curve to unify these 2 fields and to make sure that that blue loses some points. But option 2, and this is what I'm going to say, if we were to go over here, this would allow for a move like this and a red farmer over here and an invasion through that area. At this point, Lowry probably would have to go here and drop a farmer like this and try to hope for the last curve and invade over here on the outside. The game is really, really close though, and again, like, Lowry is ahead currently, but this could evaporate if Eugene gets the tile that fits into this square, because then Lowry would lose the 5-point advantage that he has in this area. So I guess for Lowry it's between 2 moves, just going over here and getting 1 point, or between YOLOing and going over here for a farmer. Which, wait, is that even possible though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are no regular curves. And there are no road Doritos. Oh, and there are no daggers either. So actually there are no curvy tiles at all to try to invade. So that's why, if Lowry were to try to invade, he really had to do something over here. Because then, by going over here, he would have at least had himself 1 straight line that fits in this area. And no, he would not, because there are no straight lines remaining in the deck. Yeah, it's quite tricky to count tiles quickly. I am a bit out of practice. Wait, what am I talking about? There is a curve. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, never mind. There is no curve remaining. You know what my mistake was? I missed this blue guy over here. So that's kind of bad. Yeah, I really just don't know what Lowry can do. Yeah, getting 1 point is fine. And meepling the farm is fine. But Eugene is gonna take the critical tile and he's gonna score 5 points in this area. And I believe that Hong Kong has it. Lowry going to get 1 point, 2 points rather, for expanding his city. And Eugene has a chance to either go here for 3 points or to go here for 1 point. No, why would he do that? He doesn't have a reason to do that. Three points for Eugene. And 2 extra points for Lowry. I believe Eugene should have this one. by not that many points, under 10 for sure. He's scoring 24 points for the field energy, worth something, despite the fact that look how many shielded tiles Lowry drew. 6 shielded tiles in this area, 15 point ruin, 2 8-point monasteries. But it feels like it should be ever so slightly not enough, am I right? It could be possible that my feelings are wrong. Oh wait, they are wrong. And they are a little bit wrong. Lowry actually gets this by 2 points. Well, will you look at that? And the reason why Lowry got this by 2 points was the very, very last tile. Lowry got these 2 points by placing this here tile over here. Had the tiles been reversed, Eugene, first of all, would have gotten 4 points instead of 3, and Lowry would have gotten 0 points instead of 2, because there was no way to position this here tile in the city. So Lowry just got a lot of points in the last couple of tiles. So this here move was 7 points, 6 for the farm plus 1 here, and these here 2 moves were 4. So 11 points in the last 2 moves, whereas Eugene scored just what, 3, 4, something like that. And also this makes me think that maybe Eugene missed a chance to win. With this here tile and with 6 minutes on the clock, if only Eugene had meepled this 5-point monastery, he would have had not only 2 points more, which by the way, in and of itself would have been enough to win the game, he would have had even 2 points extra. He would have had 4 points more because he would have been able to continue his monastery. So maybe not going over here is also a potential miss. In any case, we congratulate Lowry for this vicious comeback. And let's look at the match scoreboard. Because I know you already know the result. I don't know the result because typically the way I commentate, I'm so focused on the game. And look at this. Finland won. The fate of the entire match was decided by the quadruple city tile. So may not anybody ever again say that the quadruple city tile is a bad tile. We're going to congratulate Team Finland a little bit later with the congratulations I promise I have prepared for you. But first of all, I want to look at the second half of the first ever match between Ecuador and Ukraine, which has already been going right now. Ukraine, the highest rated team in the tournament with an average peak rating of 740 something. That's like completely ridiculous. So most of the team members in the Ukraine are masters. And for Ecuador, this is their first official tournament match ever. This is a team newly created by Juan Carlos Endara. This player who is a multifaceted board game athlete and notably an Esperanto speaker. Saluton al ĉiuj samirianoj. Se vi rigardas, lasu un komenton sube. Anyway, so let's see how the games are going. Of course, Ukraine is going to be a massive favorite, but if Ecuador manages to win even one duel, that's already going to be a big deal and a huge boost for them. So Juan Carlos is playing against Maxim Basiluk, the Ukrainian master currently residing in Canada, and they're in the middle of their second game. And as you can see from the scoreboard, Ukraine so far has expectedly won every game in the match so far. So what are we having here? Here we're actually having a very, very playable position for the Colombian. Sorry, why did I say Colombian? Oh, because of the flag. For the Ecuadorian. So, Juan Carlos is the starting player, has more meeples, 4 points behind, but he has this here threat of potentially finishing this here city, which is no longer true. And he has some decent city on the left, which could develop into something tangible. He's now coming in closer on the scoreboard. Basiliuk, however, has the 7-point monastery, has a 6-point city waiting to happen. And now I was going to say that there was a chance of this here yellow farmer penetrating into what's currently a shared 9-point field between one red and one yellow meeple. Ain't gonna work because this meeple is now blocked. Not completely, like there's still a road monastery tile that yellow can use to penetrate over here, and there's some other possible configurations. Yellow is also trying to build up this here city on the left, but this is so painful. There are still 3 tiles that left to this square, and it's still possible to complete this city eventually. But it is harder to make this farmer work after the city is being completed. That said, though, Juan Carlos is ahead on the scoreboard currently, and Basiliuk also has a blocked meeple over here for 3 points. Maxim is dropping a second farmer, really trying to penetrate over here, for which I think the best response is to go over here, trying to block this here square. But to be honest, I really don't know to what is the current level of the Ecuadorian players. I know they're relatively new, but I know they already practiced. They have accessed a range of Carcassonne resources. I know they're taking this very seriously, but I do not know how much do they know about blocking. So this move over here, it would be quite annoying to deal with if Maxim does not find a good defense. Something like a vanilla city cap over here could kill off both the red monastery and the red farmer. An alternative move for yellow is to go for a high variance approach, which is something that is a good idea when you're playing a player 500 rating points above you, is to go over here and drop a farmer, and he finds it, and try to get a monastery to fit into the square. Well, will you look at that? Juan Carlos can even go over here and even place the third meeple. Or he can go over here and now block this here area. You could also go over here and try to protect this here square a little bit. This is definitely less relevant. So this is a pretty even matchup so far. Hi Ice Maze, hi Agatha, commiserations on your loss. Hi Larpatori, congratulations on your win. I did not see that coming in the last one. Alright, so this is a significant development for Basiliuk, as he managed to successfully block the square, to inbox the yellow farmer for 0 points, to inbox this meeple for not a lot of points. And Juan Carlos can strike back. First of all, this is a really good farmer. If he manages to fulfill his plan, he will have a 3-against-2 majority. And he finds this blocking move. It does not work, but it was still a very, very good move. It almost successfully blocked this here guy. In fact, Maxim drew the last tile available in the deck to complete this here block. To complete this here 6-point city. So what we're having now, Juan Carlos is connecting over here, and he's trying to finish yet another city. This does give back a 4-point road, which ends up getting claimed by Maxim, who's now 6 points ahead. Juan is trying to finish yet another city, but the problem is that we're running very short on triangle tiles. Look at this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 are on the board, leaving only 2. But he gets one of them, and he's gonna have 8 points and a meeple back. Maxim, in the meantime, creates a threat of his own. He's creating the threat of finishing an 8-point city and dropping a farmer. And if Maxim gets a city cap, he's going to have a big advantage, but he does not get a city cap. He gets a monastery, and Juan Carlos now has the chance to go over here and maybe even invade that city. There's also only one tile remaining that fits into that square, which eventually is going to be drawn by somebody. 2 quick points are expected for Maxim. Instead, he goes for 1 point, but gives his city further squares for development. Juan Carlos connects to the field. He now has 3 yellow farmers against 2 red farmers. Basiluk tries to get yet another farmer, but he could be blocked over here. He could be blocked with a 50-50 chance. If Juan Carlos finds the move over here, he's going to leave only 1 tile that fits into this square. An alternative is to go over here and try to block this monastery instead. Only 1 meeple for yellow. And also, like, yellow is doing pretty well, because yellow does have 6 points over here, which exceed the 6 point for this here block meeple. Maxim does have the 8 point monastery, but if yellow draws the 9 point monastery over here, yellow's going to be ahead with that. So there are even some scenarios where yellow wins the game, even if the... what I was going to say... I lost my train of thought, sorry. Even if the fields are equal. But what we're seeing now, I think yellow is being a bit premature with his last meeple over here. So the idea, of course, is kind of keep the majority on the field. But the question is, like, is the majority worth it? It is 15 points. But Basiluk can now just go here for 9 points. And I think there's a way how Basiluk can win this game without even having to do nothing much, right? It doesn't really need to win the farm anymore. All Maxim needs to do is just score a bit. So Juan Carlos cleans off the empty city cap, even though he's not getting any points for it. Maxim is just getting extra points for the city. I think also one thing that Juan Carlos would have loved was this tile to finish this here shared city and get some meeples back. Or, you know, this tile to get some extra points in that area. And Maxim gets 7 points for a new monastery, 9 points for the previous monastery, and what we're going to see is probably enough. Yellow is going to have full control over this here area, and I think red is not even going to try to do anything about this, but this area is worth only 18 points, actually. Wait, 18 points for, how many completed cities? For a few completed cities. For 6 completed cities. And I think Maxim is still going to be slightly ahead because of this monastery and because of having an extra meeple. Juan Carlos can probably go here. That would make sure that there's no way to lose the control over this field. This would be the most natural move to play. Yeah, there's no tile to fit here, no tile to fit here, so he's not going to get any meeples back. Basiluk keeps scoring and scoring and scoring. This also creates a 6-point field in this here area. Yeah, and now we see the full issue of dropping your last farmer like this. Yes, you guarantee yourself the field, but you lose so much on quick points. Like, for example, these here 4 points, unclaimed for Juan. These here 3 points, also unclaimed. He gets another road, and this costs him 2 further points, which he cannot claim. Whereas there is free reign for the play with the red meeples to just keep munching and munching on those quick points. Ukraine has already won on table 5. Ecuador is yet to win a game. And again, another tile which does not allow Juan Carlos to score. And Basiluk is going to get himself 6 points for this here field. It's about the best that he can do. And a curvy tile for Juan. Is going to give him 0 points. There is also a way to give yourself -3 points by going over here and making this here meeple useless. Again, so yellow already has the majority of 3 against 2. I guess these 2 red guys, he does not really need a 4 farmer to get himself a super majority. That would only make him not score the 3 points with this here guy. I'm sure he knows that. So all we gotta do is just wait for one of the many possible 0-point moves and then see what the final point difference is. Yep, that was one of the possible 0-point moves. The point difference is probably going to be quite close to 20 points because Maxim really capitalized on the quick points towards the end of the game. And there was a point where yellow was actually ahead with the field and with the monastery setup. It was also a bit unfortunate for Juan Carlos that Maxim drew both of the monasteries here for this square and ended up getting 9 points. Still felt like a worthy gamble. Yeah, the final difference is 23 points, and with that, Basiluk has won this duel, and Ukraine is only 1 game away from clinching this match. All right, let's look at somebody else now. You know what? Let's look at the highest rated Ecuadorian player with a screen name Gary San. I really, so far, do not know much about the Ecuadorian team except for their captain. They did lose to Denis Shandar, Trinidadets. And now they're playing their second game. So Gary San has some experience. They're rated just under 300. And they're doing pretty well in this game with a third of the game still remaining. You might think that it's not a good possession for the Ecuadorian player who's playing the blue meeples because he's 13 points behind. But the play with the black meeples doesn't really have currently any threats going, whereas blue has these 2 monasteries for already 14 points. And this railway is going to soon be finished. Dennis gets himself 1 extra point. One extra city for 4 points. Gary is probably going to get himself this here 4-point road and a meeple back. An alternative is to do something like this, perhaps, and try to break the city of black in 2 areas. But actually, you know what? Maybe even this is a little bit better. This is the type of move that I know somebody like Jorimeya of Chile would do. That actually would be an exceptionally annoying move. I quite like this, because then we would be only 1 tile away from permanently blocking this here black meeple due to the uneven distribution of tiles. So we have a lot of city caps, and specifically a lot of dagger tiles, the city cap with the curves. 3 out of 3, in fact. 3 out of 3 left-handed daggers have already gone out. So something like this, again, would be a full block. I want to try this. Still, no shame in making the normal, natural move. I think it would have been a bit better with the meeple over here, just because blue has so many of them. Black starts a new monastery. Blue can get 1 of his meeples back. And only 4 points behind on the scoreboard. So very, very close. Black equalizes the monastery setups. And Gary now has an interesting decision to make here. So option 1, we just calmly start a new city. Somewhere here, for example, and we want to latch the other part over here so that this city is not easily claimable. Option 2, we go over here and start a new field and just build up. This is also a legit option. Kind of high variance, because when you make a move like this, you want to be drawing at least one, but preferably both city caps to claim not only the field but also the cities themselves. And this move also is kind of legit. So that's quite interesting, farmer over here. Now, there's nothing that fits into this area. And so it blocks this here farmer for 9 points, where this here blue farmer, who's also worth 9 points, is on a field with more potential. So this farmer could be worth more in the future. Gary should now take these 4 points. We do not want to leave more city caps lying around. And then suddenly, from blue's perspective, we have a 9-point field potentially in a different area of the board. Another dagger tile, which makes things even more interesting. So now we're running out of right-handed daggers as well. There's only one of those remaining. This means that both city scoring and field development is going to be a little bit difficult for both parties later in this game. Not really sure what you're supposed to do here as Trinidadets. I think the move which I like is just going over here. And what we want to do with this here city is try to complete it with a Dorito plus triple city pattern. This is the strongest move that I see. Then there's also the normal stuff, like we can go over here, we can start a new city, we can get a city cap and drop a farmer, and then maybe we can try to invade over here, and we can equalize, and maybe we can get a Dorito tile, and we can win this here 12, potentially 15-point field on the left, whereas our Ecuadorian opponent is going to be satisfied with just a 9-point farmer on the right. So there's this approach, but the way the tile distribution is in this game, I would not be a big fan of such decision just because there's so few city caps left. So it's a normal move to play under normal circumstances. But Gary, if he has studied Carcassonne enough, he knows that he could go over here and mess with that plan real hard. He can go here, and then he can draw another big tile, and he can both block his own monastery, his opponent's monastery, his opponent's city, and his opponent's farming prospect. An alternative is to go over here and try to block easy development of this here city, and potentially also setting up a full blocking platform against this here guy. The best move, of course, is by far to go over here. Not normally, but in this particular game, with this particular tile distribution, because there are fewer city caps than normal, and there are more big city tiles than normal. There are 6 of triple and quadruple cities. There are still 6 Doritos. That's 12 tiles which are suitable for blocking this here square. Definitely worth a shot. This move is not a good move at all. Not a good move at all. So it has so many problems I cannot even begin to describe. But let me try. Problem number 1, we're over farming and attacking the field with a second meeple, which is not even that big. And if we invest a lot of resources in that farm, Trinidadets can win this game simply with counterfield. He can just use this 9-point guy to not do anything, to just score, then maybe create a 9-point field over here, and let blue mull over this here field. The second problem, which is by far the biggest, is that this move helps the vulnerable black city so much. Look how good this city is now looking, and in fact, more likely than not, black is going to complete that city. And the third reason is, well, this invasion is not guaranteed. This farmer could get blocked for 0 points. And the fourth reason is simply because this move is not this move, which would have been just easily the best option. So yeah, I see that I think Ecuadorian players must have definitely studied from other South American teams, and it is quite common in South American Carcassonne style to prioritize fields a lot. And in fact, in Ukrainian, kind of Eastern European Carcassonne, they tend to also drop a bit more farmers than average to prefer open positions. But because these are masters who we're dealing with an all-master roster of Ukraine, they know when to tone it down, they know when to backpedal, they know when to not prioritize field and go for fieldless wins instead, like we see in Maxim Basiluk show a masterclass off in the previous game. So this sort of stuff, where you like overfarm quite early, might work against medium level players. It is just not going to work against somebody who knows what they're doing. High Los Choco Fremens supporting Ecuador. Ecuador is going to need a lot of support in this one. Gary's getting his city blocked. It was a decent idea to start a new city, but Trinidad immediately gets a blocking tile, which of course does not feel great. Gary expanded his field on the right, and he's probably going to get invaded on the right as well. So black should go over here, ideally drop a farmer, equalize these 9 points through here or through here, because if he does not do it right now, blue could draw one more road tile, go over here, and eliminate this farming option. Gary gets a curve, probably going to complete his invasion. And, there still can be some utility behind this move. For example, what we could do, we could go here, and then later in the game we could get ourselves a Dorito and try to eat up this here black farmer. Straight line for black. Certainly quite interesting decision. He wants to try and prevent his city from being invaded. He delays the completion of his own invasion of the farm on the right, knowing that there's still so many road tiles remaining in the deck that this opportunity to equalize blue's field will just never go away. Gary gets a shielded tile, builds up his city, which makes a lot of sense. Trinidadets now probably going to need to go over here just to prevent that city from being easily completed. He could also go over here and try to build up his own city, which seems to be a bit less necessary. You know what? Yeah, the position seems to be fairly even. Like, for example, if Gary manages to block this guy, and if Gary manages to block this guy, his own guy is getting blocked, then he maybe gets the tile to go over here. He eats up this black meeple. He controls this 12-point field over here. He could very easily win. I think a lot in this game is also going to depend whether this here black city is getting completed and black is going to play with a meeple advantage, or if Gary is going to draw something like what black just drew, like a triple city over here, which would allow him to block this here square. This is not quite the tile that Gary wanted. Going over here does accomplish a little bit of something, as it limits the number of tiles that fit into this square, but instead he chooses to build up his city on the left, and Trinidad is going to get away with it. He's going to finish this here city. And he may even drop a farmer. It's not a crazy idea. I'd probably do it. And then the idea, we drop a farmer, we get a curve, we connect to this field, and then we get a Dorito, and then we just equalize this here farm 2 against 2. And all things considered, everything is equal except that black is slightly ahead on the scoreboard, which should be enough for black to convert in most scenarios. But what are some other alternatives? Of course, we're going here. The alternative is maybe to forego the field entirely and meeple this road. But it seems to be a little bit overly cautious. It looks like such an obvious organic farming platform that we should just do it. Also, Trinidad is thinking for unusually long, like most Ukrainian players tend to be on the faster side. He's already under 6 minutes with 28 tiles remaining, so he could get into time trouble. Not nowhere near as severe as Gary, who's down to 4.5 minutes for 28 tiles. Hi, Sergio. Also rooting for Ecuador. Do let me know if you have any Ukrainian fans. Ukraine, of course, being the highest rated team in the tournament, even higher in rating than the reigning champions Japan, will probably be fine even without additional support, but do let me know. He does complete the city. He does job the farmer. Whatever the alternatives were, we're going to find out later. Gary can take advantage of the 3 quick points that left for him. I think he should do it. I know that it could be unpleasant, right? You don't want to let your opponent in your field, but we know that this black farmer is penetrating the main field eventually, so we might as well just get it over with and take the compensation. Another interesting idea is just to gamble the entire game in a road monastery and go here and maybe meeple this road and then take another curve and build up like a 7-point road like this, and then also hope for the road monastery for 9 points and try to set up like 16 points with a 15 points with a 50% probability against a higher rated player. This is not crazy at all. But let's start with 3 quick points and go from there. The most important part is that we do not spend too much time right now. 27 tiles is really a lot to go through when we might have an end game when we need some calculation. Like, there's going to be a bigger field. There could be some marginal field invasion platforms. And yes, he makes the correct move, but spending 1.5 minutes on this decision does not seem worth it. Trinidad is now preparing to complete this city at the bottom, which was unfortunately something that Gary enabled earlier. And I really don't know what Blue can do about this. I think maybe it's time to do something like this and try to create a blocking platform. But maybe later, maybe first of all, we actually go here and take 2 points here and then try to block the square. And then later on, we maybe get some opportunity to block or invade here. 4 tiles. 4 tiles out of the 26 unseen tiles. The 1 splitter and the 3 regular Doritos that fit over here that would allow Trinidad the immediate city completion, and with that, quite a hefty advantage. Gary instead takes 2 points in a different area with a rather nice idea of setting up a 7-point monastery spot, which he could later claim. Gary is trying to finish up his city, which is not going to work because immediately he gets blocked. There's nothing that fits over here. And this here guy is completely blocked. He will score 8 points, but 8 points is not enough. Quick points for Gary. Don't misclick, and yet he does not. We're completely equal on the scoreboard. Trinidad claims the monastery for 7 points, or at least this is what I expect. Instead, he claims the monastery for 5 points for some reason. Don't understand why experienced players do that sort of thing. 7 is more than 5. Therefore, the 7-point move is better than the 5-point move. And look at this. Gary's now trying to gamble a bit harder and creating an 8-point monastery spot for himself. Trinidadis can go here for 8 points, which is he's not going to do. I think what he's going to do is maybe just score 2 points over here. Eventually, though, I want Gary to be able to go here and to address this here threat, because this here tile is eventually coming. The city is going to be scoring 18 points at the very least. Not something that blue will be able to withstand, even with this here monastery and even with the field control. Two quick points for Trinidadis is exactly what happens. Gary gets a city cap. Not many ideas. An interesting idea is to go here and set up the completion of the city with the one and only right-handed dagger tile remaining in the game. Instead, he takes a 1-point move and tries to drop a farmer in a very inefficient way, I was going to say, because like he wants to go here and wants to go here, and then he wants to go here. It's just so many things needs to happen. Trinidadis, for example, now can start going here or here, like blocking this farming endeavors, and it seems to be that, again, we see like over prioritization of the field as an issue for Ecuadorian players, but he's plowing on. He will eventually take control of the 15-point field, and he gets his third farmer in. And now he's going to need to get one more tile to eat up this here black farmer. So credit definitely where credit's due that Blue's going to be successful in his plans. This city, though, for 18 points will be just a bit too much to overcome. Plus 20 for Black. Black has a 6-point monastery in addition. And even if Black loses his farm over here, Blue's farm will only be worth 18 points for 6 completed cities, plus this here guy for 8 points, that's 26. That's going to be complete equality, except that Trinidadis has an extra meeple. But wait a second, though. What if Gary gets the last remaining monastery? Then suddenly Gary's going to score 9 points just for nothing. And then 9 points advantage is something which is better than a meeple advantage on a board like this. So the Ecuadorian definitely has some legit chances. Trinidadis, probably going to start a new city somewhere. There's still a few city caps to allow the completion of a city and some point scoring. Where exactly Dennis is going to do that, I have no idea. It's possible to be a bit adventurous and go over here, trying to set up the one and only right-handed dagger tile. It is possible to be adventurous and go over here, trying to set up the completion of the city and another farmer and taking over this here 12-point farm. What this here move does, I genuinely have no idea. Well, I have some idea. So first of all, maybe he was thinking that there was still a tile available in the square. Maybe that was a blocking attempt. What I really think this move was, it was a move which prevents Gary from going here. Because let's say if Gary's going to go here with the monastery, then Trinidad is going to go here and block this here square, not allowing Gary to recover a meeple after such a monastery move. So I get it in that sense. And Gary's trying to set up a city over here. He's also has only 6 seconds on the clock, so he will be losing this game by time unless a true miracle happens. And Gary will not be able to claim the city because Trinidad has claimed the city for him. 1-0, -1, -2. This game has been officially lost, even though the game is not stopping. According to the rules of the tournament, the player who loses on time at any point in the game will be considered the loser. But the game is still continuing, so Gary might not know this due to their first time participation. According to the rules, he has to concede the game immediately, but Dennis is not challenging him on that simply because he will be winning this game on the board as well. For example, a very nice winning move would be something like this, taking the 6-point farmer. That's some very quick calculation from Dennis about the remaining tiles. I would have probably gone in a different direction, and a 4-pointer here, or a 4-pointer here, or a 5-pointer here, of course. Take your pick. Gary's gonna make a 0-point move due to not having meeples, and we're gonna start the point counting. Oh yeah, of course, I forgot about this. This was super important. He needed to eat up this here meeple, right? I kind of assumed that this already happened. Well, the good news for blue is that this master plan of creating a big field with a 3 versus 2 majority, which honestly is like at this level for the first participation in the World Champion, is very, very admirable. This plan worked. The bad news is that this is not quite enough, and that Trinidadets is going to prevail by just a couple of points, actually. 8 points only. Oh, 5 points only, yeah. And this is our official result. So definitely Ecuadorians have something to be proud of, keeping it close. Maybe just got to think about that time management later on. But yeah, the Ukraine have officially won that match. I'm just going to double check real quick if either is still playing. Hi, Susanna. I see a lot of support for Ecuador. Oh, Sergey is saying that the Ukrainian fans are on the Ukrainian language stream by Devaka. That makes a lot of sense. Salute on Juan Carlos. All right. I just want to check real quick if I think some games are still going on in this match. Let me just do this. Nope. A clean sweep for Ukraine. And we see that 4 losses on time, so definitely playing with the clock may be something new for Team Ecuador. A bit of a rough initiation for them, but then do remember that Ukraine is the highest rated team in the tournament, so it should be a bit easier for Team Ecuador from them on. And with that, we will be wrapping up our stream, and we'll be wrapping up our stream with the congratulations for the winning teams. So first of all, to congratulate Team Finland with winning over Team Hong Kong. All rise for the Finnish national anthem. Oi maamme Suomi synnuin maa, soi sana kultainen. Ei Laakso, ei Kukkula, ei Vettarantaa rakkaampaa, kuin kotimaa tää pohjoinen. Maa kallisi siihen. Ei Laakso, ei Kukkula, ei Vettarantaa rakkaampaa, kuin kotimaa tää pohjoinen. Maa kallisi siihen. Congratulations again to Team Finland, and to congratulate Ukraine on a clean sweep in their opening match. All rise for the national anthem of Ukraine. Ще не вмерла Україні, і слава, і воля, ще нам, браття молоді, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші воріженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануєм і ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми, браття козацького роду. Душу тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми, браття козацького роду. Congratulations again to Team Ukraine. And with that, we're going to be wrapping up. I just want to advertise a couple of things. Do make sure to check into the other streamers today. Otto Ikunen is going to stream Italy versus United States and Czech Republic versus Germany, and Brazil's Fausto Barral is going to stream in Portuguese Latvia against Spain, the match in which I myself will be playing in 3 minutes, and the first ever match of Team Sweden in the World Cup as well. All of that for those of you who understand Portuguese. And I will see you in the next week of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship. Before I leave, make sure to meeple the like button if you liked anything about this stream. It does a lot for the algorithm. In case you're here for the first time, do make sure to subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne Online content like this. This championship is going to last for 9 weeks. Make sure to not miss the broadcast. And in case if you're feeling particularly enthusiastic and want to support this channel in the long term, do look into the channel membership options. All right. Hi Kolpnik. Hi Besson. Thank y'all so much for the kind words. And thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.